It is the Bobby Moe Show. I'm Chris Shovlin, the play-by-play voice of Robert Morris football and basketball, and head coach Andy Toole is here with us today at the UPMC Events Center, so we are naturally going to talk Robert Morris hoops. And Coach, I know that we've talked time and time again, the basketball season is a marathon, it is not a sprint, but even more so, and I want to start with this today, building a program is a continual effort. There's a lot of continuity to it. And we played a game recently at Towson where you had three of the all-time great Colonials show up and cheer for Robert Morris, namely Russell Johnson, Lucky Jones, a Hall of Famer, and Anthony Myers-Pate. What does that, them showing up at a game, mean to you and mean to the continuity and the flow of the program over all these years?
It's I think a little bit of a testament to the program. Those three guys were at the game against Towson. Jeremy Chappelle was at our game against Cincinnati. Those things are great. When we go into areas where those guys are originally from or now living, and for them to come out and support, the next generation of the Colonials, I think just shows the pride they have in the program, the fondness that they have for the time that they spent here. I got to spend some time with Lucky and Russell at the hotel before we went over to the game, and just being able to see those guys and see where they are in their lives is so rewarding to me. Obviously, you laugh constantly when they're telling you all the things that you've done to them, and all the times that things you didn't know about maybe when you were coaching them here.
And they still love you.
I guess they do. But they're great, and even after the game last night, we're riding back on the bus, and Russell called me, and we talked for 20 minutes, and he's talking about the guys in the game and situations in the game and, all those kind of things. And I think it's really neat to see the investment that some of those guys have in the way they follow us.
I think, a lot of people who follow basketball don't realize that there are long-lasting bonds that just continue on and on and on. And it's part of the game. I think it's one of the reasons I love basketball is because the bloodlines run so long and so deep.
Well, you look at even Steph Walker, the way that we were kind of alerted to Steph Walker was through Anthony Myers-Pate. Steph Walker's high school coach, Derek Washington, I knew him when he was in college visiting Aunt Myers-Pate. They were great friends growing up, and now he's a college coach in the DC area, and that's kind of how we got alerted to Steph. And when Steph came up here to see campus, Lucky was the guy who brought him up. Mm-hmm. And so it's just amazing how everybody's separated by maybe one iteration in the game of basketball, and it is what makes it so great. The time that you spend with all those guys, the relationships that you form with those guys, outside of what everybody else sees, are the things that really make it special. Even today, in the facility, you go down in the practice gym and you're talking to Alfredo about last night's game and areas that he can improve, and you're talking to Alvaro, and TJ just stopped in, and got some other guys coming in later today, and it's just all those kind of moments that are part of the process of building a team, of building a program, of creating those relationships, of building the buy-in to what you're trying to accomplish every day is one of the really fun parts. It's also one of the frustrating parts at times. But I think that when you're doing it with really good people, and everybody that we've mentioned fits in that category, it makes it all worthwhile.
People always talked about the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. You could literally trace basketball almost from you and from anybody in the game today all the way back to Dr. Naismith. Huh. And that's one of the blessings about this game. The bloodlines do run that thing.
Yeah, I don't think my bloodlines are as deep as Dr. Naismith's, but it's not hard. When you sit down with basketball people, it's not hard to find that commonality, that common relationship, that common experience, of being a part of a team, of playing at a high level. I was talking to a guy last night who was there to support Steph, who was a former college coach, and he was just talking about how much he misses the competition of being on the bench during the games and the day-to-day of being in the practices. And I think when you talk to coaches that are no longer in it, that's the stuff they miss: being on the bus, being in the locker room, watching film with a guy. Obviously the games are great. The chase of the championships is exciting, but I think it's all those unseen moments that really make it a unique profession and make it incredibly rewarding.
Take a short time out here on the Bobby Moe Show. We're with Andy Toole, the head coach of the Colonials. When we come back, we'll talk about this year's team, the returners, and the new guys coming up right after this. RMU hockey returns to Clearview Arena this Saturday in a doubleheader. Logan Biddle will lead his squad into battle against the Tigers of RIT. Derek Schooley looks to add another home win this season against the Niagara Eagles. Puck drop for the women's game set for 3 o'clock, followed by the men at 7. You can get your tickets now by calling the RMU ticket hotline at 412-397-4949 or by going online to rmucolonials.com. And don't forget, parking at all RMU events is free. Don't get shut out. Get your tickets today. RMU Athletics has partnered with Clearview Federal Credit Union for the Clearview 50-50 raffle. Get your 50-50 tickets at all RMU home men's basketball games and support RMU Athletics and our more than 450 student athletes. How'd you like to win $25,000 at an RMU basketball game this season? One lucky fan will win $25,000 by correctly predicting the halftime and final scores of each team at every RMU men's and women's basketball home game. Predict the Score is presented by Falcone's Moon Township Ford and by The Hangar. Welcome back to the Bobby Moe Show. It's Chris Shublin with head basketball coach Andy Toole. You had started off mentioning Stephon Walker, and I want to talk about the key returners to your basketball team. Of course, Josh Corbin and Jackson Last also come back returning starters to your basketball team, and they have been the nucleus of the returners, obviously. You do have some other guys who are in their second and third years here at Robert Morris. There are some new people who've come in and you've added to the mix. We'll talk about them in just a second, but let's talk about Stephon, Josh, and Jackson, first of all, and what they bring back to the program.
Well, those three guys, as you mentioned, are the returning starters from last year's team. They're kind of, a little bit of the tone setters for us right now. In the practice setting, in the weight room, in our workouts. How we need to behave. Obviously Jackson, first and foremost, and Josh, two guys that really are very, very mature in their outlook on not only basketball but life. Really good at understanding where their priorities are at. Steph obviously is kind of a little bit of has some of the emotional and toughness leadership piece of the equation, and all three of those guys have done a really nice job of welcoming the new additions, helping communicate some of the expectations and the standards to those new additions, and they're really valuable pieces of helping us kind of go from not only game to game but day to day, right? The consistency that's necessary, the understanding that's necessary to not only deal with myself but the way that we work and the way that we practice. They've certainly been great voices for some of the guys that are maybe walking in the locker room and saying what was that we just went through, or why is coach on me about this, or why is this important, and they can really speak to all those things from not only their knowledge but also their experience with the team.
Andy, I know it's just a short body of work as we speak here today, but it looks like Steph has really stepped up his game going from his freshman to his sophomore season. Yeah,
you always hope you go that freshman to sophomore year jump, and I thought he had a good summer, good fall in his work. I think one of the things when Steph came here, everybody knew his ability to rebound and his enjoyment of physicality. But I think the question always was the consistency of his work, the consistency of his motor, and building yourself to be able to do that for a full 40 minutes or 32 minutes or whatever you play during the course of a game. And I think he's done a good job with his approach every day. We always say you are what your habits are, and he's been much more consistent in the practice setting, in the workout setting. Obviously, he's really has a high IQ and understands what we're asking him to do on both sides of the ball. He has a willingness to do it. And so, I think that's why you're seeing some of that increased production. We have great faith in him. We have great confidence in his ability to make good decisions. And even if he doesn't make good decisions, it's to a really good point where you can coach him, where you can say to him, hey, maybe this isn't the right time to make that play. Maybe this would have been a better option. And he kind of takes that and he puts it in that memory bank of his. And the next time that we're seeing a similar situation arise, we're usually getting a better result.
Josh missed the 2 of the first 3 games so far because of injury. What's his status right now? You're going to get him back in the near future?
Yeah, he's day to day. We're trying to get him back in as much stuff as we can. Kind of an unfortunate thing. Just a kind of odd play in the game against Xavier that kind of created the injury, and he's kind of chomping at the bit to get back out there. He's a guy who wants to be out there. He's ultra competitive, and I think it hurts him not being able to be out there with his teammates. And so he was even in my office today, trying to kind of scam and scheme on what he could start to get back into. And, I love that mindset, but it's also the idea of being a long season and being, as aggressive but as smart as we can be at the same time.
The two newcomers who've made the most immediate impact on the ball club are Justice Williams, your point guard from Philadelphia and Roman Catholic High School, transfer from LSU, and Marquise Hastings, who is a double-double machine and has been so far. Both of these guys just gave an instant spark to your ball club this year.
That's what they were brought here for. They were brought here to have those kind of roles, have that kind of impact. Marquise just plays with a great energy and competitiveness. He seems to be everywhere, all the time. His instincts are, at a high level. His ability to rebound, as you've noted, is very unique. And Justice, with his size and his playmaking ability, those are two guys that we rely on to help us generate offense. They've been on the floor for, major minutes in all the games they've been in so far. They're still kind of learning and adapting a little bit to all the stuff that they need to know terminology-wise and system-wise with us. But they've been great additions, all summer long. They've worked hard. They've been open to be coached. They put in extra time, whether it's shooting, film-wise, et cetera. And we think that, as those guys continue to get more and more comfortable, they're going to be able to contribute even more and more, and not necessarily maybe from a statistical perspective, but just from an execution perspective, maybe, defensive coverages or, some of those 50-50 balls, things that we're talking to them about on a regular basis.
Andy, you brought in a couple of international players this year, namely Alfredo Boglio from Italy and Alvaro Foguieres from Spain. Tell me how you found these guys.
Good accent there, Shub.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. Coach Islino actually found them. Alvaro was down in Florida at a prep school called DME Academy, and Coach Islino got word of them and got some film on them, and we were able to kind of watch the film and just saw kind of the uniqueness that he has as a player. Great size, great length, very good passer, very creative with the ball, can make perimeter shots. So there's some real size and skill and uniqueness to Alvaro. And then Alfredo was playing in Italy, and obviously Coach Isolino is a legend there. And late in the spring, kind of got tipped off to the fact that there was this point guard who was looking to come over to the States. We were able to jump on and watch some of the film that he had from his international play. He's represented the Italian national, or represented Italy, in some of the U18, U20 championships in Europe. We were able to watch. We really liked what we saw, and he actually happened to be in the States in early June, and so was able to come down here and get a on-campus evaluation, and we were able to sign him. So Coach Islino did a great job with both guys. A little bit fortunate in the timing on both circumstances, but we have high expectations for both. We think both will be big parts of our rotation, and we think they're only going to get better and better as we kind of go through each and every experience, from scrimmage to exhibition game to live games. They're learning so much each and every day. They were two of the first guys in the facility today to try and figure out ways that they could improve and be better. And I think if they continue to have that mindset and are consistent in their approach, their production and their value will continue to rise.
I know we want to talk about the upcoming tournament over Thanksgiving weekend, and we'll do that in just a little bit, but we owe some props to guys like TJ Wainwright, Chris Ford, Trey James, Ben Kristkowiak, all returners, all contributors, supporting roles, and of course you've got some unsung heroes out there who work every day in practice, and I know that rounds out the roster. We're talking about the backups and the walk-ons.
Yeah, he had a great start to the season. Yeah. Started against Point Parks, played major minutes in every game. We think he can be a real X factor for us. Chris, at the end of last year, I thought showed some great consistency. We need him to regain a little of that. Making sure that he's taking care of all of his business on the defensive side and on the glass. Trey, Ben, those guys, got some opportunity against Point Park. They're still kind of getting an understanding of where they can kind of fit and where their roles are. Again, Ben's a super hardworking guy. He's really engaged, And he didn't get a chance to play last year. He's a red shirt, didn't really get a chance to practice much either. So this is really his first go-round.
And coach's son, he knows the game, too.
He knows the game. He understands the process. We've had some conversations about that. And he's one of the first guys up on the bench every game. He's one of the first guys at practice. He's trying to figure out how he can get better and how he can continue to add value to the program. And those are important guys to have as a part of the program. And then you mentioned, some of our walk-ons. Those guys do an excellent job. They're here early working with the assistant coaches, being able to, run opponents' plays, help with scouting report. And, Tanner O'Grady and Cyril and Vaz, those guys are, invaluable pieces that help our program function.
All right. He's Andy Toole. I'm Chris Shovlin. We're going to take a short time out here on the Bobby Moe Show. We're going to come back and talk about something really special going on Thanksgiving weekend, something you can be a part of. 3 big basketball games going on here, 3 big teams coming in, I should say, at the UPMC Events Center. We'll talk more about that right after this on the Bobby Moe Show. RMU Athletics has partnered with the Hilton Garden Inn Pittsburgh Airport to benefit the Humane Animal Rescue of Pittsburgh. For every win this season by our RMU men's and women's basketball, football, and men's and women's hockey teams, the Hilton Garden Inn will donate $25 to HARP to help support animals in our region and give them the love and care that they deserve. Join RMU Athletics this upcoming weekend for Fansgiving in support of the Pittsburgh Food Bank. Donate 5 non-perishable food or toiletry items at our Clearview Arena or Joe Walton Stadium box offices and get a complimentary ticket for the hockey or football game of your choice this weekend. For games and times, check it out, rmucolonials.com. And thank you for supporting the Pittsburgh Food Bank this holiday season. There is tournament basketball coming to the UPMC Events Center Friday, Saturday, and Sunday right after Thanksgiving. And everybody's looking for stuff to do after the holidays to get that turkey out of the way. And who knows, you can bring some sandwiches with you if you want to. Now, we have great concessions here at the UPMC Event Center. But Coach, this is a brand new event. I want to talk about it. You've been working on this for several years now, and it's come to fruition. It is called the Urban Bennett Memorial Classic. Let's talk about it and who you're bringing in.
Well, we've been working on trying to figure out ways to get more home games. I mean, I think that's always been a challenge. Going back to some of our early NEC days, there'd be years where you'd have 3 non-conference home games before you got into your conference play. And it makes it a challenge, to go on the road to win games. Now in the Horizon League, many of the teams in the Horizon League are doing things to be able to generate home games for themselves. And myself and Chris King and some of the people on our development staff, spent a lot of time trying to figure out ways that we could incorporate some kind of multi-team event, Thanksgiving event, however it might play out. And we were fortunate enough to have some help from, one of our sponsors, one of our boosters, Russ Olson, to help kind of create the Urban Bennett Memorial Tournament. And I know before I got here, there were some holiday tournaments, Thanksgiving tournaments. And so we kind of felt like that might be something we could utilize. And so we were fortunate enough to be able to put together this multi-team event. Jacksonville University from down in Florida and Fairleigh Dickinson University, our old NEC rival, will come out and play us Thanksgiving weekend. We'll play Jacksonville on Friday. Jacksonville will play FDU on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we'll play FDU as a 2-game event for each team. So I think it's a great opportunity for us to get 2 more home games against 2 mid-major programs. And give ourselves a chance to have our home fans and home atmosphere be utilized a little more than it has in the past.
I don't know if Jacksonville's ever played in Pittsburgh. I have to go to the record books to try to figure that out, whether they played us or the other 2 D1 teams here in town. FDU returns, but they were the Cinderella of the NCAA Big Dance last year, and of course they bring a lot of excitement.
Yeah, and they play a fast-paced style, and they had the upset of Purdue last year and second-round game against FAU, who made the run all the way to the Final Four. So, I think there's some excitement around those teams coming here. I'm sure you and Jimmy will be cracking the history books to be able to figure out when Jacksonville was here last. Artis Gilmore, maybe. I'm not sure who.
I don't
know. The Dolphins will be in town on Friday after Thanksgiving. So, again, it's a great event. It's a great opportunity for us to not have to travel during the holidays, to have more home games, to get our fans out and getting a chance to continue to learn about our team, to enjoy watching our team, and we're excited about it.
And watching basketball here, it is so comfortable here at the UPMC Events Center. It's a great place to watch a game. I've been in every seat in this building so far, ever since they built the place. And there's not a bad seat in here, even the ones way up in the corner behind us. I mean, you can see everything that's happening here at the games. And not only that, but these are going to be really inexpensive tickets. They start at just $10.
They do, and I hopefully, you know, if you have family in town, you know, obviously a lot of people don't work on Black Friday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you get the opportunity to come, bring family, bring friends, get them out to see the Colonials, I think you'll have an enjoyable experience. Everybody who comes in the building and watches a game that I come in contact with raves about the enjoyment they have, the ease of getting in and out, the great concessions you mentioned, and just the enjoyable, fun experience of being here at a game. So hopefully, again, the more we can get people out, the more they want to come back and create that home court advantage and atmosphere that our players so dearly need.
All right, Jacksonville FDU and our own Robert Morris Colonials here Thanksgiving weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Games here at the UPMC Event Center. And if you want to get tickets, and as I said, they start at just $10, call the RMU ticket hotline. It's 412-397-4949. Again, 412-397-4949. Andy, finally, the Colonials are on the road at Wisconsin this coming Friday night. What's that going to be like?
You know, the Toole Center is one of the best atmospheres in college basketball. You know, I think we're excited to go there. I think part of, you know, what we want to create within our team is putting them in some environments that are unique and hostile and memorable, right? And we've gone to the Dean Dome, we've gone to Rupp, we've gone to the Palestra, we've gone to McHale out at Arizona. You know, we've gone to a lot of really great venues in college basketball, and I think the Toole Center is one that's always packed, always loud, and I think it'll be a great opportunity for us to challenge ourselves against a Big Ten opponent who's, you know, they have high expectations there. They're always well coached. They're always incredibly disciplined, and so it'll be a real great challenge for us. It'll also be a great opportunity for us to continue to identify areas that we need to continue to get stronger in. Areas that we need to continue to maybe accentuate, and that's really what we're looking for Friday night. So, you know, we have 2 great days of practice, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we'll travel Thursday. But we're looking to getting back on the court on Friday and continue to improve, continue to grow, continue to build some of that chemistry and connection that we're going to need as we go throughout the season.
All right, the Colonials and the Wisconsin Badgers, Friday night, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 6:45 for those of you who want to listen to the RMU Athletics Game Day app. We'll have the call of Wisconsin and Robert Morris this coming Friday night. Coach Toole, always great to be with you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Chef.
That's the Bobby Moe Show for this week. Have you checked out the Bobby Moe Exchange yet? The NIL Business Registry is custom designed for businesses, donors, alumni, and fans all interested in connecting with our more than 450 RMU student athletes. Get all the Bobby Moe Exchange NIL info at rmucolonials.com. The RMU women's basketball team returns home next Tuesday. Head coach Charlie Biscaglia squad takes on Penn State Beaver. Tip is set for 7 o'clock. You can also get a Coors Light chill pack all game long. For only $5, get a 16-ounce Coors Light draft and a box of popcorn. Tickets for all RMU women's basketball games are on sale now. Go online to rmucolonials.com or call the ticket hotline at 412-397-4949 for special group rates and on-court experiences.